Hey, what's up? This is Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz. This is my weekly video blog called Bullheaded, a review of the Houston Texans news as well as a preview of the upcoming game matchups. So, this week the Texans are going to be returning from their Thanksgiving break to host the Indianapolis Colts. But before I get into all they need to do to get a win in that game, I just want to do a quick recap over Week 12's matchup against the Detroit Lions. So, amazing performance against the Lions on Thanksgiving Day. At that offense, they were explosive. Watson had had around 318 yards, threw for 4 touchdowns as well. The defense, they played impressive as well. He had a pick six. Even the score up earlier in the game, and they also forced a turnover. I think they had a couple more after that, but they did force a turnover as well to help the offense add some more points to the board. So kudos to both units. Very great job on both sides of the ball. A couple of things to make note of. It was the first 2-game win streak of the year. So earlier in the week, they had the New England Patriots on Sunday, and they beat them. And also, it was the second time the team got a coach fired. So, unfortunately for the Lions, they fired their head coach, Matt Patricia, as well as their general manager. So, second time the Texans got a general manager fired this season. So, good luck to those two on their travels. Hopefully, Lions find what they're looking for. Hopefully, Texans find what we need to be looking for. So, that's all I got for the Thanksgiving game, because as soon as that game ended, it seems like there was a whole, bunch of stuff just going on around the franchise. So, first things first, wide receiver Kenny Stills, he was released soon as maybe as soon as the plane landed back in Houston. So it was reportedly a mutual decision that the two sides agreed upon. And I looked just now, I think he cleared waivers probably a couple of days ago or so. So any team really is eligible to just kind of pick him up and, use them for whatever. With Stills, man, he had some plays. Like, he came over last season, and if people don't remember, he came over last season as part of the Tunsil trade. So we sent a couple of our first round picks over to the Miami Dolphins to get Laremy Tunsil, left tackle Laremy Tunsil. And, they threw in Kenny Stills as part of the deal as well. And this was, right before the season started, probably right before preseason or so. And so, first, there was a couple of games last season where, he kind of showed up and made some impact plays. This year hasn't been so much for him. He's been relatively quiet, and this was really going to be it was really going to be important for him to kind of step up within his offense, considering that, we got rid of DeAndre Hopkins, and, now we're bringing in these new pieces within the receiving group. We're bringing in a Brandon Cooks, a Randall Cobb, Will Fuller. He's not a new piece, but he's been healthy, all year, and we'll get to Will Fuller in a bit. But, it's pretty much a new look receiving group, and it was going to be important for him to kind of maybe just step up and see what he has to offer to this group, and, see how they can, how he can help bring success to this offense. So, it's been relatively disappointing. In the Kansas City game, he had no catches. I don't even think he was targeted he either wasn't targeted or he just, wasn't available in the Tennessee and in the last Jacksonville matchup. So, it's been a pretty, lackluster year for him this season. So, both sides agreed to it, that he would be, go his way, and, both sides agreed they would go their separate ways. And, good luck to Kenny Stills. Hopefully he, finds where he needs to be. So speaking of wide receivers leaving, this week, Will Fuller has actually been suspended for PED violations. as well as Bradley Roby, cornerback Bradley Roby. He's been suspended for PEDs as well. 6-game suspension, so their season is pretty much done right now for us. Roby, he's had a okay season, I guess. He's missed. I think he missed like 1 or 2 games, that good stuff. But I think he recently just came back, and I think he was out this last game. Kind of think about it, or yeah, he didn't really. He just really didn't like have any tackles or whatever. But he's been off and on this season, and so that's gonna suck to have him gone. Will Fuller, man, I should have just titled this episode Will Fuller because pretty much when I first got the news that Will Fuller was suspended for PEDs, I was like, you know what? I knew it was too good to be true for him to actually be healthy and healthy this year and really just making an impact. Will Fuller's been having like a good season this year. And part of the reason I just said, he's been healthy this year. Previous seasons, he's shown like flashes of greatness, but for the most part, in those previous seasons, he's been like injured, and he really hasn't. And when he comes back from injury, he really hasn't been that much of a spark. So this year, he seems to be leaning a little bit more towards the consistent side, not fully consistent, but leaning more towards being more consistent. And so it hurts that, found out that, PEDs may or may not be a part of this. With his situation, he explained that, he wasn't aware that whatever he was taking was, part of the NFL's banned substance list. And that sounds like a lame excuse, but it's not an uncommon excuse. I've heard that like quite a few times from players over the years. I remember the first time I ever heard it was some years back. Robert Mathis of the Indianapolis Colts. He had took like over the counter or like a prescribed medication or something for something else, totally unrelated to football, and so it showed up as like, as a substance that was, on the banned list at the time. And so he had to take a suspension for that. And so, things like that happen. So I'm not gonna beat Fuller up over that completely. It is what it is. He planned not to appeal the suspension. Him and Roby, they're not going to appeal the suspension, so they're just going to be on the Texans suspended list. But yeah, I obviously just losing him and Steele within the same week is just pretty crazy, man. Like it's like things are already kind of down on the Texans. Actually, somebody posted. There was something I wanted to talk about, but I forgot about it. But somebody had posted an article or something saying that, the Texans, for the first time this season, the Texans were on pace to have wide receivers. The Texans were on pace to have 2,000-yard wide receivers this season. And so I have to go back and check my tweets. I probably still have it. But while I'm looking it up, I will say that for that stat to even happen this season, that's pretty crazy. Cause I mean, considering the criticisms that this offense has really just had, this year, did I leave it on my bookmarks? I'm not even gonna work. Wait, here we go. So yeah, Will. I guess the guy tweeted, Will Fuller and Brandon Cooks were on pace to each to have 1,000 yards. So for that to happen this season with this receiving group, with this offense, with the criticism that they received, that was pretty eye opening or whatever. So, but yeah, Will Fuller. this year, it sucks that he's not going to be around for the rest of the season, because like I said, he's had a great season. He's been healthy all season. Uh, it's just sad that he's not gonna be able to see this coming to fruition for him. So like I said, man, things are already going bad, for this Texans offense, and now it just seems to have gotten worse, especially with Indianapolis coming into town, and what they can do and what they have and what we're going to need to beat them. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. So last thing on Will Fuller, another interesting article I came across. And it was actually Deshaun Watson caping for Fuller to be re-signed next year. So just really one quote. He said, I guess they asked him, they was talking to him about Will Fuller being an unrestricted free agent at the end of this year. And, Watson was like, it's very important to bring back Will Fuller. He did make a note. The article said he did make a note of pushing to re-sign Will Fuller. And so look, the craziest thing about Fuller's season as well is, knowing before that, like, he's really become like this. He's almost become like this team's most important receiver, which didn't really seem like the case in the last couple seasons, but he's really like become like a must-have almost. He really has shown like his value of what this team needs. I think back to like the trade deadline earlier this year. He was almost. It's crazy because he was almost out of here. The Texans and the Packers were reportedly working on the deal, and for one reason or another, the Packers just was not with giving up the required assets to get Fuller, so they just backed out of it, and the rest is the history up until week 12, I guess. So so what can you say? When your franchise quarterback asks for a certain receiver, you just gotta you can honor it. It's just a matter of like how much you're willing to pay for him. Because now that he's shown what he can do in just about almost a full season, a lot of teams are really going to be trying to go after him. I do believe the Packers, they might take another shot at it. They might try to bring him in either. I don't know if they'll get him right away. They probably might wait it out and see if a lot of teams pass on him and try to get him at a discount price. But man, I really don't think that's going to be the case. Fuller is somebody that really can go in and, as shown right now, he can go in and just help the right team and get into the right direction, basically. The Texans, they've been going in the wrong direction. Texans need to find a direction, first and foremost. So, but Fuller can go somewhere. He can go to a Packers. Hell, he can go to a Patriots. If they bring back Cam and they bring Fuller in to add to that receiver group, that could probably be a problem as well. He could probably help out the Bengals if needed. If they decide not to move forward with AJ Green and they bring him in to help help Joe Burrow out. So Fuller does have his options. He definitely despite this whole like PED suspension, he definitely has his options in the offseason. So it's really going to be on if the Texans can just kind of listen to their franchise quarterback and see what they can do, or if they can just put their foot down and be like, we're just going to let him go and have another team try to pay him what he wants. So it is what it is on that. So with that being said, with down 2 receivers, this coming Sunday, the Texans are going to have to figure it out against the Indianapolis Colts. Colts, they've been trying to remain atop the division for most of the season now. They've been going back and forth with the Tennessee Titans in the last couple weeks to hold that spot. And so now, after their game against the Titans, in which Titans just came in and just smacked them around with Derrick Henry, they're going to be looking to kind of bounce back and get in their groove against us, against the Houston Texans, and they're going to be on the road doing that. Texans are going to be hosting the Colts. It's going to be Battle Red Sunday, and so Texans, they're coming off their 2-game win streak, hype, trying to get a third win going amidst all the turbulence that's going on around them. So this is the 3 things that they need to do in order to make that happen. So number 1, coverage is going to be key against the Colts. Phillip Rivers, he's very well protected by the offensive line. I think he's only been sacked 9 times this season. So he doesn't. There's not a lot of pressure that just really gets to him. And as far as throwing the ball, if he's not afraid to check it down to his running backs, so he'll try to get the ball away quickly. But I would definitely say if there's a chance to just have the coverage if there's a chance for the coverage to let Rivers hold the ball for as long as possible until the pocket breaks down, that's going to be a key thing to do as far as getting to him and disrupting his rhythm on the offense. Also, do not let T.Y. Hilton resurrect the Texans killer moniker. Look, T.Y. he hasn't really had the best of seasons this year. He's been relatively quiet, but you don't want him to get back to who he used to be against us. So I would definitely say just kind of put a lid on him. Make sure that Texans killer moniker just comes here to die. Just keep him on a hush, because for whatever reason he just seems motivated to go off against us. Number 2, keep the running backs and tight ends involved in the passing game. So what I would say about this is the Colts secondary, that can be very tough. I think they're 4th in the league in interceptions. So they can definitely, they can definitely cause a turnover or 2. So yeah, this secondary, they can be very tough, very aggressive on the receivers. Sometimes they're too aggressive to a fault, but you don't want to rely on the referees to make that call. Really just kind of win your matchup against them, and just let them players just let them play physical until it faults them, if that makes any sense. But really just focus on winning your matchups against them. As far as the running backs and tight ends, they're gonna be needed, just to kind of chip away at that defense. So if the secondary itself is, giving our receivers some problems, at least you have the option to go to the running back. So Duke Johnson, he's been really good in the passing game. Procise, he's been, he can be okay in the passing game as well. He caught a touchdown. I think I mentioned that earlier. He caught a touchdown in the Lions game last week. Duke Johnson also caught a touchdown last week as well. So, and Watson's really comfortable. I've noticed over the years he's really comfortable throwing touchdowns to the running back. So there's nothing for him to just kind of spread the ball around and to that group as well. Tight ends, of course, we can definitely get those guys involved as far as just helping move the ball down the field, just getting first downs, getting a couple of keeping the drives alive and all that other good stuff. So just keep the running backs and tight ends involved in the pass game, just to chip away at the defense and kind of take the secondary out of the game as well. And also with the running backs and tight ends, they're going to need to be involved now that we're down without two receivers. We're still going to have Kiki Kuti. I cannot pronounce his name for nothing. We're still gonna have him. Randall Cobb and Brandon Cooks. They're still going to be available as well. So, but just having those running backs and tight ends involved, that'll kind of help take the load off of Cobb and Cooks, so they don't shoulder too much of the passing game work. Also, it's going to help protect the ball. So if we're taking the secondary out of the game, if taking the Colts secondary out of the game plan, then it's definitely going to improve our chances of protecting the ball as far as like no interceptions, no fumbles, and all that good stuff. Just basically no turnovers. So keeping those two groups involved, just throwing the ball to those two groups is going to be essential. Last thing, third and last thing Texas got to do is play to the level of the Colts. Like I said, Colts, they've been sitting atop the division for most of the season, and so the Texans just have to play to the level of Indianapolis. This is a divisional opponent, so the records will probably mean nothing. Let me see where the Colts are. I think they're sitting at like 7-3 right now, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Oh, excuse me, 7-4. So they're sitting at 7-4 right now. And about, let's see. Yeah, they're sitting 7-4, second place. So really, the fact that they were able to beat the Titans a couple of weeks ago, but are now sitting in second place, a game behind them. They're hungry. They're hungry to get back into their winning ways. They really want to. I mean, they were able to beat them. They were able to beat Tennessee in Tennessee. The fact that the Titans came in and just smacked them around with Derrick Henry, of course, that's probably not sitting well with the Indianapolis Colts. So right now, their mindset is that they can't slip up anymore, regardless of who's in front of them. They can't afford to, slip up and just fall out of the division race. So they're looking at they're not going to take the Texans lightly at all. They're going to come in. They're going to put on, probably their best performance of the year. They know the Texans' weaknesses. Texans know the Colts' weaknesses. So it's definitely going to be, I think it's going to be a tough game for both sides. Obviously for the Texans, but I think if the Texans can just even play to the level of the Colts, it's going to be a long day for the Colts. And so that's all that Houston needs to do, just play to the level of Indianapolis and just, really bring it to them. Because, hey, it's December. Everybody's in a playoff type mode, even the ones that are on the bubble and don't even look like they're going to even sniff the wild card. They're in a playoff mode just to knock off, their rivals from the playoffs. So with that being said, just go back over these three things. Number one, coverage is going to be key. To force Phillip Rivers to hold the ball and let the pocket break down. Keep the running backs and tight ends involved in the passing game. Throw the ball to them. Distribute the ball to that group. To make up for the wide receivers being missing, and also to protect the ball from any turnovers, as well as keep the drives alive. And last thing Texans got to do is just play to the level of the Colts. This Texans are sitting at 4-7. I'm not saying they can make a run, but this is definitely going to be a trap game for the Colts. And the Texans, they're looking to just, if the Texans don't make the playoffs, they're looking to knock one of their division opponents out of the playoff race, or at least have them trip up on the way to the postseason. So they do those three things, they'll be able to go ahead and lock in the W for this weekend. But that's all I got for this week. I'm Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz. If you're on Facebook, please like my page, facebook.com/BrandonBlog. If you're on YouTube, like my page, youtube.com/BS713. I'm Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz. Holla black.